We saw
This is Brandon Kelly, Speedy 4759123, and we're about to play some Pokemon Shuffle.
This match is a wreck and you know it. Let's start with the generic Russian manager who can't even introduce his guys properly.
And we're playing on Android.
After the disgusting visual of the bushwhackers licking Mississippi's best and brightest, they try to get a USA chant going, which makes about as much sense as when Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho got that chant against La Resistance.
They still to come tonight inside the steel cage. Live tonight, Snitsky versus Kane.
Folks, these four men put on a clinic. That is a kicking, punching, and choking clinic. These guys are so immobile, I counted fewer than 20 bumps between the four of them in this 9-minute match.
Oh, and in a rare showing of tenderness, Volkov looks to be laying Luke down for a nice nap. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, that's supposed to be a backbreaker.
The soft slam.
Stop calling out the bad stuff, Rosenblum. What are you trying to do here? This match is like watching four old guys wandering around looking for their keys. Even the referee is sick of it and does a fast count after Sheik and Volkov recreate the finish of the Mighty McAfee's debut match.
Up next, it's the Four Horsemen versus the Midnight Express. Well, one from each team at least, as Tully Blanchard takes on Stan Lane.
Horsemen versus Midnight Express? Hey kids, remember wrestling? Earlier in the day, Blanchard, cosplaying as an insurance salesman, was jumped by Sweet Stan, who looks like a hybrid of Ric Flair and early 90s Sting. After collecting himself, Blanchard cuts a hell of a badass promo.
10 years is bubbled up inside me. 10 years all of a sudden, at one time, is bubbled up inside me. And everybody that's ever screwed me, anybody that's ever done me wrong, is all coming out.
Whoa, finally a match I'm excited about seeing. It took them long enough.
Well, don't get too excited. I mean, a promo's one thing, but the match could still be crap. We have no idea how rusty these two are going to be in the ring.
A little bit more respect regardless of what happened earlier today. Oh, big hip toss.
That is a new high score on level 5.
Well, you know, the ladies that come to the matches, they're gonna look at these guys, and sometimes, you know, that's what guys.
Well, imagine that. This match is actually exceeding my expectations.
Yeah, no kidding. It looks like these guys are actually still in shape. I mean, look at them go.
This has been a war between Stan Lane and Tully Blanchard.
Ooh, nice suplex.
1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. Is that it? That Stan Lane win? Stan win it? It looked like Todd Taylor counted to 3. Now he's saying no. And now he's waving it off. He did wave it off. He's reversing the decision, and he gave it an illegal move.
So, wait. What happened exactly? I mean, the announcers seem totally clueless as to what's been going on, but to be fair, they've been like that all night.
Yeah, let's look at it again. Okay, I see.
We're moving on to level 6.
Old school dusty finish type spot where both guys have their shoulders down, but the guy getting pinned gets his shoulder up at the last second, so the person on the offensive actually loses the fall. It can be a really good way to end a match in a dramatic twist, but everybody has to be on board to make it work. That includes the announcers who couldn't have given less of a shit at this point.
2, 3. Wait a minute. Is that it? That Stan Lane win it? Stan win it?
So undoubtedly the best match on the card is ruined by a confusing finish. Well, if that isn't an omen that we should just give up now, I don't know what is.
Hey man, it was your idea to review this thing, okay? We've made it this far into the show. At this point, we might as well just stick it out and make it to the end. Come hell or high water. Let's just keep going.
Up next, we have the one-man gang taking on the human tomato juice dispenser, Abdullah the Butcher. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this one.
Things get off to a wild start as the one-man gang gently taps Abby in the head with the chain while stomping loudly on the mat. Not sure that's how it's supposed to work, but what do I know? I'm not a hero of wrestling.
And, oh my God, the
Nerd.
He got him with the fork. Look at that. Abdullah's got the fork. Oh, now he's petting that the one-man gang. Well,
oh, no.
It's gonna make me.
Audience.
Oh, is he
Foo.
drinking the blood? Oh,
there is no justice with the fork in the middle of the ring.
Oh, God, Rosenblum, just shut the hell up already.
So after all
Okay,
that gore,
that's not
the
so
match
bad.
ends when the referee throws the match out for reasons. That does it. I hate wrestling now. This pay-per-view has successfully made me hate wrestling.
Well, hey, don't look now, but the next match might actually be okay. It's Jimmy Snuka taking on Bob Orton.
In a room that is definitely not a refurbished storage closet with a slapdash poker table thrown in, we see surveillance footage showing Randy's dad cheating at cards. Well, I've seen blood feuds started over less.
My man can suplex from his knees, brother. He's so good, so fine. He's so sweet. This is the man of the hour, the man of the power.
And I'll tell you what you have done. You got the Cowboys dander up. Can't wait to step in the ring with you, Snooker. And Albano, stick your nose in there one time. I'll slap you, boy.
I feel like Orton and Albano, they are wasted on this show. These guys are genuine legends of wrestling, and this is their gold watch? Or rather, a tin watch painted yellow?
Snuka and the Ace have a serviceable match here, but nothing too special. The highlights include Orton working on Snuka's arm for a legit 5 minutes, the announcers arguing like an old married couple.
You're trying to call this like some stupid UCLA Oregon basketball game or football game. No, this is wrestling. Anything goes. The last match should have told you that. The last match should have told you that.
And then suddenly,
But Bob Orton right now dominating Jimmy Superfly Snuka on the.
are they saying Bob's up?
Yes. Yes, Brian, they are. Let's just...
That's a new high score on level 6. So we're going to be going on to level 7.
That match, it wasn't amazing, but it told a good story, and the crowd was really into it. For the first time all night, I can say I had no problems watching this match.
So finally, it's time for... You know what? We've made it this far, but I really don't think I can go through with this.
Oh, come on, Adam. I know the show's been bad so far, but
No,
I mean...
it's not just that. It's just, well, look at this promo.
You don't want to play cards with me because I'll cheat. You want to play 21? I got 22. You want to play blackjack? I got 2 of those too. You want to play aces and eights? Maybe I got too many of those too. Mr. Cameraman, get your ass back up here. Hello? I'm talking to you. DDT. Think of that.
Oof. That is really hard to watch.
Look, this show took place in a really bad time of his life, and it just seems cruel to poke fun of him and his history of substance abuse here.
Damn, you're right. I mean, maybe we should leave this one alone. Just skip past it. I mean, we don't want to come off as insensitive jerks kicking a guy when he's down, or... Hang on. Maybe it's not so bad.
What do you mean?
Think about it, Adam. Why do we talk about Heroes of Wrestling?
Because it's a show stuffed to the gills with awful?
Yeah, overall everything is bad, but why do we talk about Heroes of
That's a
Wrestling?
new high score on level 7.
Because of Jake Roberts.
We're going to move on to
Exactly.
level
If
8.
it weren't for Jake's drunken antics, nobody would even remember that this show existed. But because of that massive meltdown that took place in the main event, it not only brought more awareness to this cesspool of a card, it made everything else on the show even worse by association. Everyone else on the card was just the opening act for Jake the Snake Penis Roberts, and for that, they'll be remembered forever.
Wait, you mean people remember Snooker for this more than diving off the top of a cage, or Blanchard more than being in the Four Horsemen, or Iron Sheik more than being a WWF champion?
All that and more, and we have good old drunk as a skunk Jake Roberts to thank for it.
Well, when you put it like that, I feel better about this. I think I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. Wait, no, I've changed my mind.
God help us. So here are the cliff notes. First, Jake makes his way down the ramp, his tonsils swimming in Jack Daniels. He waits a minute, then he decides to head to the back.
When he walked back, look, to me, this has got to be a psychological ploy. You ask me exactly what it is.
Psychological ploy. Right.
After what I can only assume was a very spirited debate with the promoter, Jake runs back out to the ring area and proceeds to sexually assault a fan.
Neidhart leaves the ring here, no doubt asking himself what he'd done in a past life to deserve working a match with this sot.
Cocaine?
I said past life.
The two of them try to put on something resembling a match, but the combination of age and abused substances make it a bit of a chore to watch. But 5 minutes into the match, the real fun begins.
And the Anvil's out of here. The Anvil's out of sight. He's gotten out of harm's way, and the fans love to stay.
Boy, the guys in the back couldn't cut away to a disinterested crowd fast enough, or for long enough.
We eventually cut back to Jake lying in the middle of the ring with a snake on top of him. Perhaps he's hoping that he'll fall asleep and the world will just fade away.
The plan for a second main event match is immediately scrapped as King Kong Bundy and Yokozuna come out and make it an impromptu tag match. Looks more like somebody who ate Yokozuna, really. Bundy is accompanied to the ring by his mini-me. Actually, that's promoter Bill Stone, who decided to come down to ringside to watch his grand vision implode before his very eyes.
God bless the other three in this match who managed to work around Jake's corpse for a few minutes, right up until the hot tag when Bundy quickly splashes Jake the Snake for a mercifully fast 3 count. Neither of them with the legal man,
moving on to level 9.
Point, nobody cared.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is substance abuse with style. Jake Roberts is the undisputed king of making a drunken ass out of oneself on a grand stage, and he took the crown on this night. Scott Hall only wishes he could be in Jake's league. Jeff Hardy is a boy among men.
The event comes to a close when Jake is too out of it to even hit Baby Bundy with anything, leaving Yokozuna, the man who's made only of tits, to send the fans home happy. I guess.
And that was Heroes of Wrestling. It happened, and that's literally the nicest thing I can say about it. This crime against wrestling makes the old Grandmasters DVDs look like Wrestle Kingdom 10. Throw in one announcer who doesn't know what he's talking about, another one who does know but doesn't care, and some of the worst production values ever seen on a modern-day wrestling broadcast, and you've got one for the ages.
In spite of the dumb finish, Blanchard Lane was easily the match of the night, but they would have had to work hard to avoid that. Either one of them could have wrestled a broom and it still would have won top honors.
But even if the show had nothing but 5-star classics, it still probably would have been their one and only Heroes of Wrestling event. It fell well short of the break-even goal of 40,000 pay-per-view buys. Promoter Bill Stone was hoping to run multiple events on a quarterly basis, but those never happened due to the disappointing buy rate. But after watching this unmitigated shit show, I can't help but smile, knowing this is the only one of its kind. Zane, you have no idea how much trouble you're getting into disparaging the good name of Heroes of Wrestling. You're gonna pay for those words, Zane! Lou, you say that every time you come on this show, and you never deliver. How can I take you seriously? You'll find out soon enough, Zane. Look out! Look out! Look out!
Well, Brian, after all that insanity, maybe I could talk for a bit about how I would have booked it.
You know, Adam, I gladly welcome your take on this nightmare. I'd love to hear how you would have booked Heroes of Wrestling.
Oh, thank you. I wouldn't have.
Beg pardon?
I wouldn't have booked this show if you had paid me $1 million, billion, schmillion dollars. Apart from Blanchard and Lane, I would have told every wrestler to piss off. I would have taken every single wrestler who approached that venue, Bill Stone, Casino Magic, and Randy Bloody Rosenblum, and cast them all into the fiery abyss for even thinking about putting on this show.
Yeah, I'm with you, Adam. This show isn't just the worst thing that happened to wrestling or to pay-per-view or the state of Mississippi. This is the worst thing of all time. The people who created this show could not have possibly been of this earth. No, Heroes of Wrestling was clearly cooked up by the devil himself. Okay, that's really starting to concern me now.
Did someone say my name?
Whoa, what's happening? Look, there isn't room for anyone else in this video.
You're precisely correct, Mr. Zane. It was me all along.
I told you you'd pay, Zane. He's finally here. The dartboard is here.
Quiet, you.
Aw, the devil himself. You are the one responsible for Heroes of Wrestling.
Of course I am. No mere mortal could have been evil enough to create something as terrifying as this. Heroes of Wrestling ruined countless careers and left a permanent scar on the psyche of foolish humans like you. That's some of my finest work.
But why, Satan? Why would you unleash such blight upon the world?
What can I say? I live to destroy the good feelings of nostalgia. Old school Raws. Film franchise reboots. Woodstock 99. That's all me.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, actually, that explains a lot, really.
Putting all of those old wrestlers together was a recipe for disaster, and I loved every minute of it. It will go down as some of my best fantasy booking ever.
Well, we've unleashed the devil.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have done that.
Do you think anyone will notice?
Probably not. And besides, watching WWE these days is like hell on earth anyway.
Hey-o!
Oh, me.
this guy.
How hard is it to make a good movie about professional wrestling? Well, apparently very, since there's only one film made in the entire history of the genre that fits that description. But the thing about The Wrestler that made it so accessible to such a broad audience is that Mickey Rourke's character could be almost anything. A pro wrestler, a boxer, a stuntman, hell, even a mailman. Any job in which your age becomes a liability. So it can be done, but in general, it's pretty difficult to portray the life of a pro wrestler. Now, a professional wrestling fan, turns out that's even harder to portray. Case in point, Ready to Rumble. Ready to Rumble was released in 2000 and starred David Arquette, Scott Conn, and a host of stars from WCW. In a move that was meant to bring WCW back to the promised land for the Monday Night Wars, it wound up being a total flop. It was unfunny, uninteresting, and totally unwatchable. It made wrestling fans look like idiots, and it blurred the line between the real and the fake of pro wrestling so much that by the end, I couldn't tell if this movie was meant to be some sort of ironic satire. And let's not forget, this movie was the catalyst for what would be one of the final nails in the coffin for WCW. I absolutely loathe the idea of doing this movie. Come on, headless, muscular guy, you've already got them in a headlock, just squeeze a little harder. Just pop their heads off. You could be doing the whole world a favor. You could change the course of human history. You could prevent this dread from ever being reviewed. Come on, just do it! No, you have no courage! Let's just get it over with. That's a pretty traumatizing way to start things off, don't you think, movie? Loud classical music followed by a picture of a bloody Sid Vicious?
It is safe to assume that professional wrestlers are universally recognized as the greatest athletes of all time. Lassie, Gorgeous George, George the Animal Steel, Superfly Snuka, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan.
Must be confusing for the non-wrestling fans watching this film, as none of the names Scott Conn is listing off match any of the pictures that are being shown. Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Ted DiBiase, Billy Graham. Our story begins in the small town of Lusk, Wyoming. We meet the film's two main protagonists, wrestling superfans and best buds, Gordy, played by Arquette, and Sean, played by Conn, who clearly deserved better than being in this film. Get used to me saying that phrase, because you'll be hearing it a lot. These two are huge fans of longtime WCW star Jimmy King. King is played by Oliver Platt, who's played an asshole for so much of his career that it ought to be on his business card. Oliver Platt, professional asshole. Gordy fantasizes about being a wrestler and tag teaming with the King himself, but he just spends most of his time with his finger up his butt. And I'm not being figurative here.
Hey, Gordy? Yeah? Why does it look like you have your finger in your butt? Does it do?
Your hero, ladies and gentlemen. We're also introduced to Gordy's father, a state trooper who loathes wrestling and wants Gordy to follow in his footsteps. He also seems to have a weird preoccupation with sketchy touching.
Whoa! What's this? Those are my nuts.
I don't understand why he doesn't like wrestling. Looks like he fit right in. The two main characters work their day job, cleaning septic tanks and porta-johns. Gordy and Sean are psyched because they'll be going to see WCW Nitro in nearby Cheyenne that night. Wait a minute, Nitro in Wyoming? Did Raw or Nitro ever perform in flyover states? Well, we don't have too much time to think about that as we move on to the next joke.
Welcome to Give Me Takeout Burger. How may I help you?
Sean wants Brittany's taco. With cheese all over. Por favor.
Yeah, we're only about 10 minutes into the film, and David Arquette's man-child shtick is already wearing pretty thin.
Why don't you just ask her out, man?
The Don Juans fail to impress Sean's crush, and the two have some time to sit and chat.
You should give up on Brittany, man.
That was a quick turnaround.
Why don't you just ask her out, man? You should give up on Brittany, man.
So the two talk about what's going to happen that night, and, wait a minute. I can't stop looking at that dripping septic tank while they talk and eat. Is that all it's going to do? I keep waiting for the punchline where it'll burst and interrupt what they're saying, but it just keeps dripping. Is that the joke? Is that what we're supposed to be laughing at here? We cut ahead to the big show, WCW Nitro, in what looks to be the smallest arena for a Nitro I've ever seen. I suppose it makes sense to run out of a smaller building, considering how badly WCW was drawing in real life. This was probably what their average house looked like every Monday night. Makes sense to pack them in tight, I guess. We finally get to see the champ, Jimmy King, who, oh my god, is the least convincing wrestler I've ever seen. There have always been wrestlers who don't have the body of an Adonis. That's how it's always been, and it's never really going to go away. But look at him! I don't think this guy has an athletic bone in his body. How thick is that outfit he's wearing to give off the impression that he's larger than he actually is?
Never seen me take Diamond Dallas Page down into my dungeon and make him my medieval puppy dog bitch tonight.
Well, it's no Rudy Poo candy ass, but I can still see the line going over. Wait, what? A rapping king? Why? As we try to get that bad taste out of our
Well,
mouth,
we didn't quite get that one.
Diamond Dallas Page and Titus Sinclair, a booker slash promoter slash manager slash owner. I'm not really sure what he's supposed to be. It's never clearly defined. All we know is he's an on-air talent who has some degree of power in WCW. Sinclair is played by Joe Pantoliano, who deserves much better than to be in this film. Anyway, Sinclair says King's time is up and tells DDP to put the champ out of wrestling. The match starts out cordially enough, with the two men calling spots in the ring, but then the master of the Diamond Cutter goes into business for himself.
Okay, Pagey. Pep talks, baby.
Jimmy King!
What the hell was that?
This is the first time in which you see the film have a real identity crisis here. They can't keep the story straight on whether wrestling is real or fake. DDP is supposed to be shooting on Jimmy King here, but a lot of the moves he's doing are all based on cooperation, like everything in wrestling. Unless you were the Incredible Hulk, you would not be able to lift another person up like a sack of potatoes.
Round him, Page! Round him! We're better than artists!
Yes, another pleasant running gag in this film. See, Gordy is supposed to be so stupid that he often says one word when he really means another.
We're better than artists!
Another platter rouge. Buenos nachos, señorita.
What is the point of this gag? Is it not clear enough already how stupid Gordy is?
Why does it look like you have your finger in your butt? Is it do?
So all the other WCW wrestlers went out and beat up Jimmy King as well as the referee because, sure, he was just sitting there, not part of the conspiracy, and DDP emerges victorious, the new champion.
Why? Why not?
You think people hate me just because of my fashion sense? If I were calling the shots like Sinclair, I'd get sick of someone whose promos have rap numbers in them too. The King has run out of WCW and the boys are beside themselves. Sean and Gordy crash the septic truck, spilling gallons of raw sewage everywhere. A tidal wave of shit. Yeah, that imagery sums up this movie pretty well.
What are we supposed to do?
Exactly.
What? What would King do?
I don't know, not be an adult looking to a professional wrestler for frickin' life guidance? Our two heroes decide to hitchhike to Georgia to track down their idol and get him back into the ring. They get a ride from a group of nuns, who I swear are riding in the same band as the Jewel Thieves in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Running with the devil! Running with the devil!
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this the part where I'm supposed to laugh? I mean, come on, I get what they're trying to accomplish here with this joke, but come on, movie. Make me laugh. Earn the laughter. Oh, Latka. Aren't these guys still wearing the clothes covered in raw sewage from the truck crash earlier? I don't know if this is how it works, but I thought the lighters would have ignited the methane gas coming off their clothes.
Running with the devil!
If only. The boys arrive in Atlanta, getting one step closer to finding their man. They enlist the help of a local wrestling fan who uses a fascinating tool called the internet to track down King.
Sir Isaac, you have served your king well.
My loneliness is
We're ready to move on to level 12 now.
I must confess, I still believe, give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Why?
My research confirms he has at least 3 kids. 2 illegitimate, 2 wives, and has filed for bankruptcy 3 times.
This doesn't... Wait a minute. Are we talking about Jimmy King here, or Ric Flair? Because I'm pretty sure the two lines are starting to blur together at this point. Gordy and Sean discover that the King is holed up in a trailer park, so they go in to investigate. Jimmy King!
Oh.
Who's there? Who's there? They discover that Jimmy King is hiding out, dressed as a woman. Okay, now I know this guy's a metaphor for Ric Flair.
We've got a female! We've got a ladies come out of the audience here!
They try to convince King to get back into the ring to avenge his loss, but their idol lays down some cold, hard truth on him.
Y'all know it's just a show, right?
Best show in the world.
It's like dancing. You know? It's a circus show with dancing.
Right.
Dancing clowns.
Right.
Listen to me, you pair of dumb shits. I ain't no king. There never was no king. The king is a fake creation, okay? I ain't even a has-been. I'm a never was. You got it? Stupid? Now get the hell out of my house. I'm done with you. Get out!
That's probably how I would react to a pair of grown-ass men who thought it was still all real.
What's the matter with you? Go out! Come on, this is nothing! Hey, you let go!
Wrong side, jackass! Gordy and Sean awaken the beast and convince King to invade WCW and get one good shot at Sinclair. Now here comes the fakest thing in the entire film. The gang drives cross-country to sneak into a Nitro event in New York City. Now, non-wrestling fans might not understand how ludicrous this picture is, but WCW never ran shows in New York City. That was strictly WWF territory. Nobody else ran there, plain and simple. WCW ran other parts of New York State, but never Manhattan, never the Garden, or in this case, the New York Arena. The three amigos sneak into the arena, with King smuggled into a porta-john when the boys get distracted.
Taking things.
Oh, the naked thing.
This is an important moment in wrestling history because it's the last time anyone paid attention to the Nitro Girls. DDP and Sinclair enter the building, and that's when the shit goes down.
So, Paige, what do you really feel about Jimmy King?
See, now this I don't get. If they've blackballed King and run him out of the organization, why are they still talking about him? If you want people to forget about a wrestler, you stop talking about them. End of story. I mean, it doesn't always work out in the real world, but if you do it long enough, people eventually do forget. Kind of like, oh, no, I'm not going to go there. While Jimmy King tries to really hurt Paige and Sinclair, security does nothing. Cameras are rolling, fans are reacting. Is this real or is this staged?
Do your job! Do your job!
You went there! 1, 2, 3! Winner by pinfall, Jimmy King!
Wait, what? Who said it was a match? Did I miss something? Was it just supposed to be symbolic or something?
No! That was not sanctioned! Any match, anytime! You heard it, Sinclair! Any match, anytime!
So Sinclair sentences the King to a steel cage match at the next pay-per-view for the title and apparently $1 million. Why? Who knows? Apparently the richest prize in professional wrestling isn't enough for some. At an after party, Gordy gets to spend some quality time with his Nitro Girl crush, Sasha.
I got your poster up in my room.
Really? Which one?
That's this one.
That's my favorite.
Me too.
You're really sweet.
Yeah, because this is the guy you really want to bring home to mom and dad. Either this girl is an idiot, or... yeah, she's just an idiot. Gordy and Sean take King to an old-school wrestling trainer named Sal Bandini, played by legendary actor Martin Landau, who, you guessed it, deserves better than to be in this film. Quick question, how do the boys know where this guy was? The guys are from small-town Wyoming and know nothing about New York. How are they able to get in contact with this guy? Oh well, better not to think about little logistical things like that. So, Not Too Hard starts to whip King into shape in preparation for his big match. Meanwhile, Gordy and Sasha move forward in their relationship.
Picking up some really awesome moves.
Awesome moves, huh? I'd love you to show me your awesome
Yeah. I think that still brings us, yeah, just a little bit short, but it's getting late. So we're going to show you that we were on Android. And call that it for today. Here. Android version 7.0. Once again, this has been Brandon Kelly, Spady4759123. And that was Pokemon Shuffle. Thank y'all for watching.